Swapnil Agarwal, how are you doing? Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, I'm great. Thanks a lot, and it's an honor to be on the show. And good afternoon to all your listeners as well.
Hey, no, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and being here with us and sharing your experiences and your background. And so yeah, why don't we start with that? Why don't we start with your background? Tell us how you where you came from. How even real estate got involved, and just kind of go from there.
Sure. You know, I was born and raised in a small town in India, and just like every other immigrant, I came here in 1996. My parents moved here along with me for better education and job opportunities for myself and themselves. And in 96, I was 15 years old. We lived in, for the first 10 years, we lived in a very, very, you know, kind of affordable housing apartment complex where, you don't get a lot of amenities and services that is expected for any human being on earth. Uh, Graduating from high school, I grew up in Houston, went to Ailey Facings High School. I then, self-financed my college education, went to University of Texas at Austin, graduated as a finance major, and, worked in corporate America for about 10 years. I was in investment banking for 3 years, and I did private equity. I was based in Hong Kong, where I was investing in real estate across Asia Pacific. In 2013, I came back because my parents were still here during this whole time, and they were getting older. I wanted to be closer to them. Came back and I started Nitya Capital and Karya Property Management in late 2013. And my sole focus was buying, managing, and improving, um, you know, Class B and C apartment complexes around Texas. Because from my own personal experience, I saw the opportunity that existed, and I thought, let me focus on that. Let me not only try to make money for myself and my investors, but also improve the lives of our tenants, which are predominantly blue collar tenants that makes $30,000 to $60,000 a year, and that's how it originated. We started in 2013 when we bought a small apartment complex in Dallas. And fortunately, and with our hard work and a bit of luck, now we are a platform where we have about 12,000 apartments all across Texas. We have over 400 employees, and we have assets that are worth over $1 billion in value. So I consider myself very fortunate. I think we're trying to create a platform which not only provides returns for our investors and provides a platform for employees where they can not only grow professionally but also personally, and also for our tenants, our 12,000 families that live in our apartments, where they can call them that our property is their home, and they can raise their children and their kids with safe, clean, nice environment.
Yeah, Swap, you gave me so much to talk about. I mean, 12,000 units under management, over a billion, in under control and under management. I mean, those are insane numbers. And so I want to start off with asking you how you came up with the names Nitya Capital and Karya Management. Like, where those names originate from?
So Nitya Capital, Nitya is a Sanskrit name, and in Sanskrit it means everlasting and everlasting. It's a name which is present and forever. So I wanted a name for my company that exists forever. It becomes a name that's global, and exists in people's lives forever, and that's where Nitya comes from. Karya also comes from a Sanskrit name. Or word, which is karma. I think karma is a kind of a global word now, where it's all about person's actions. When you do actions and you do good actions in this life, and continue to do actions in your in every other life. So karya means good action. So both the words come from where I grew up in India. Sanskrit is a traditional language, and that's where I picked those names from.
Awesome. I love that. That's some good vibe, but good karma. So I want to ask you, you are specifically in Texas, right? So what made you like Texas, and then what markets within Texas are you currently more focused on?
Yeah, Texas is a great market because obviously, first of all, I grew up in Texas, so I had a little bit of a bias because I grew up in Texas. But if you think about it objectively, Texas is a place where it's kind of a melting pot, and for various reasons. First, your cost of living is very affordable if you compare it to, not only other states in America, but if you look globally in any other city. It's a great place where you can afford to live, raise your kids, raise a family at a very affordable cost of living. Secondly, the weather is moderate. We a lot of us come from, South American countries and, Asia, where, the weather is moderate. It's not that cold. Summers are hot, but that's what so a lot of people are moving to Texas. If you look at the historical data, you have close to 150,000 people moving to Houston alone every year, and then Dallas, another 150,000. So you have a lot of population growth. You have a lot of job growth. Everybody, the unemployment ratio is less than 4% right now. So people who want to work can find jobs here. Uh, so because of those reasons, I said, look, Texas is a great place, not only because I'm here and based here, but because of macroeconomic indicators that I've outlined just now, that it's a place where people will continue to move and will continue to provide job growth for whoever that moves here.
Yeah, and one thing that you didn't touch on is Texas is a landlord friendly state, right? And so I think that's a big plus that a lot of guys don't necessarily think of. They look at the job growth, they look at the population growth, but you also got to look at to make sure if it's a landlord friendly state such as Texas. I mean, it just favors the landlord so much, right?
Absolutely. And that's a bonus. Obviously, it's a business friendly state compared to a lot of other states in America, like New York and California. Because, end of the day, when you're working hard, we're trying to create a product, we're trying to create a business, and we don't want anybody else to take advantage of it. So it's a business that favors people who take risk in their lives, people who are willing to go out of their comfort zone and be creative and start a business. So I said, look, like I said, it's an additional bonus on top of what are the other factors that I've outlined. And that only helps,
Yeah, you put it all together, and then it's a recipe for 1 billion and 12,000 units. That's what it gets you. So let's talk about that. I mean, that this kind of portfolio doesn't happen overnight, right? So you have obviously done your homework. You've also obviously done a great job. So tell me about what kind of underwriting do you do? Let's kind of dig on that side. Let's look at what is it that you're looking for in a property to qualify for it, and like that you can proceed in making a deal.
There's a lot of factors. We are very, very thorough in our underwriting. So obviously, when you're looking at real estate, it all comes down to location, 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 especially in the multifamily and apartment complexes. So first of all, we look at the submarket. We look at the other, we look at the exact location of the property. We look at, what kind of submarket it is. Is it what kind of schools is it zoned to? What kind of transportation access it has? Does it have a metro bus stop? Is the area gentrifying or not gentrifying? And specifically to the asset, is that asset provides this opportunity going forward to be able to grow the income and improve the quality of the tenants' lives. So all of that goes in our mix, and we spend close to 60 days doing our due diligence. And at the end of the due diligence time, if we think that it's an asset and the location that we should go after, we do. And now, given that we have the platform and the size, it makes our job easier because, we pretty much have properties in every submarket in Houston now. So we have historical data of our own properties, knowing, how does that property is performing over the last year or so. And we see the operational upside, is that property we're buying, is there an upside in terms of, is the owner currently managing the property to this best level possible? And if not, then that excites us. And that's what gives us confidence that, look, we can go in and improve the operations, improve the quality, improve the physical aspect of the asset. And if all those boxes check out, then we go after those assets.
Got it, got it. So let's dig a little deeper on that. You gave me a lot of great things to talk about, but let's dig a little deeper on the what qualifies for the right property. What qualifies for the right market? Are you looking for a certain number of units? Are you looking for a value add specifically? Is there a price point that you're looking at? What are you looking for there?
Yeah, there's really no price point. It all comes down to, what kind of cash flows the property is producing now and what's the potential going forward. So yes, there is some sort of a limit on the small level, because now we have a platform where we don't want to buy too many small properties. So we're looking for properties that are over 200 units or so. And on the upside, we don't really have a limit of how big the deal needs to be. We can go after $100 million or as low as $20 million.
Got it.
Uh, yeah, and then basically, like I said, the upside that it provides, and in terms of timing, the ownership, the story behind what the asset is providing, and what we can achieve there is, I think, all goes to the factors that goes behind the properties we buy.
Okay. So what is your goal whenever you're buying these properties? How long do you plan on holding these properties? And, what is your business plan as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, we are a long-term holder. We don't believe in flipping the assets like a lot of people do. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a good model, but we are long-term holders of the properties. We like to create value over the next two and a half, 3 years. And we like to hold on to our properties. And our average base case, we're looking to hold the properties between 5 and 6 years. And, even after 5, 6 years, if we don't think the market fundamentals are good to sell the property, we don't mind holding on for long term. So because we have a long term capital behind us, so that's really our strategy.
Got it. And so now, are you looking more towards being in the B market, the B class? Is that kind of the space that you're going towards, or that you're in, or because I know you said you started with C class in Dallas, right? Is that what you said? And so, what space are you looking at right now?
Yeah, we are B, C, A. We go across the spectrum. Obviously, we started out, we didn't have a lot of capital behind us. So we started with buying Class C kind of assets and location. But now, recently bought a lot of Class A assets as well. Wherever there's value to be created, we get excited about those opportunities.
Got it. So to be able to build, such a great company like this, you have to have the right team members, correct? You can't do this alone. Obviously, you have to have the right team members, and they got to be A type of guys, right? So how are you able to find these type of players to be able to put them on your team? What kind of process do you go for that? What kind of process do you go through for that?
Yeah, I've been quite fortunate, to be honest, to find the right team members so far. And for me, it's about, like you said, it's about creating a team that can help you achieve your goals. I'm a very aggressive and very a risk-taking entrepreneur, so I need to surround myself with team members that can support me in that sense. So far, I've found people. That's the biggest thing. I've built an infrastructure which is second to none. I've hired the best. I pay them really good. Their compensation obviously is a key for them. And I mean, I've been fortunate in the sense that in the beginning, I couldn't really afford a lot of, to pay high salaries to a lot of these individuals, but they took a leap of faith in me and my capabilities and my vision, and they came on board. I feel really blessed and fortunate that I was in that position, that they trusted in my abilities. And going forward, yeah, I'm going to continue to build a team, because if you want to grow the business, the key is to keep hiring the right individuals and keep growing the team.
Got it. What type of training do you go through? Do your employees go through? Do you have a specific type of training that you do for them in house, or how are you able to maintain such a great performance from your guys?
Yeah, we have a university in house called Karya University, where we provide training to all the property level professionals, which include managers, assistant managers, leasing agents, maintenance staff, because we believe that, like I said, we want to we want those individuals to grow professionally and personally. So we have a coursework and syllabus which they learn every day. They get credits for it, so it's like a full-fledged university. And again, it's all about value system. The culture that we have created. We are of a mindset where we work hard but play hard as well. We have a very flat hierarchy where there's really not many layers in the middle. I personally know a lot of individual folks that work at the property level, and I feel very proud of it. I would love to know more individuals. When we had 15, 20 properties, it was possible for me to go meet them every week, but now it's getting harder and harder. But I've created a culture where everyone is equal. Everybody is creating value in their own ways, in their own positions. So there's no superiority, or there's no certain individual that should consider themselves as superior to anybody else. And that's the mindset, and I think that's been played out so far, and fingers crossed that I'm successful in doing so going forward as well.
Great, great. So you have Nitya Capital, you have Karya Management. How important was it to have both of these, like a vertically integrated type of company, to be able to use the same systems? How important is that and do you recommend that for other guys to be able to do that as well?
It is a very important factor. It's a very significant aspect of why we've been able to grow the way we've grown. Because property management is a very difficult business. It's a very management intensive. It's a very stressful job. A lot of college educated graduates like myself, they don't want to get their hands dirty. They want to sit in their office with their air conditioning on and be on their laptops and desktops, and whether it's trading stocks or building Excel models or writing presentations. Everybody wants to do that. Nobody wants to go inside a property, a Class C property which has tough tenants, and try to collect rents, or try to fix a plumbing leak, or try to fix air conditioner or roof leak. That's where you create value. So I would encourage that this is where value is created for anybody who's looking to do business. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, because whatever comes easy, there's so much competition for it. How many college graduates that you see want to become a property manager or maintenance staff, right? Nobody wants to fix ACs when they graduate, but there's a huge lack of those skilled individuals, right? And if you are doing that job, you get paid really well. You know, you have a great job satisfaction, because you're improving not only in tenants' lives, but also creating value at the property level. So that's what I would encourage. Don't be afraid to, my recommendation to a lot of the young educated graduates, that are coming out of college or high school, get real world experience. As an immigrant, we had to go through that training because we came from other countries. We didn't have any option. We had to grind it and, pay for our schools and, pay our way through doing those kind of jobs. But a lot of, kids that are born here, that they've never done those kind of things. But that's my advice. And if I'm in any position to give advice, I would say that get real world ground level experience, because that will go a long way in creating your future and career.
Yeah, and I was gonna say because there's a lot of great third-party property management companies out there, and there's a lot of them with a lot of experience. Do you recommend somebody going that route instead of kind of taking it on their own at the very beginning? Because you just mentioned have to get some ground level experience. You recommend somebody going that route with a third-party property management company, or starting off on their own and kind of implementing their own systems?
Yeah, obviously, when you're starting out, I would say get experience, hire a third-party management company, because they're experienced in what they do. And if you only have one, two, or three assets, you don't have that economies of scale where you can start your own management company. And that's how we did it. First three assets, we had a third-party management company, and then we started our own. So yes, absolutely. Starting out, hire a third-party management company, but at the same time, be very involved yourself. Go to the property, sit at the property, see how it's been done, so that you learn the process, you learn the systems, and hopefully when you grow, you are able and you can lead, so that you can create your own management company after that.
Great answer. For you to be able to get to 1 billion, and this is a little over 1 billion, you've had to have some source of equity, correct? So can you explain that, how you have been able to source your equity? Like, where are you finding your investors? Is it institutional? Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, to be honest, to date, I really don't know how investors continue to invest and trust me with their money. Because for me, if I was only investing my own money, I would probably get lazy and be a bit more relaxed. But if somebody is investing capital in my company and in me, it's a big debt that's on my head. So I really try very hard, work very hard. The whole team works very hard so that the investors can make money return on their capital. Yeah, so we started out with few high net worth friends and family individuals, and now we've grown where we have over 350 high net worth individuals that have really trusted in our capabilities and our track record, and they continue to invest. So different buckets. We have some institutional capital as well from New York. And now we are at a platform where I consider myself very fortunate that we have the brand name, we have the track record where, investors contact us on their side to they want to be able to invest with us. But starting out, yes, it's a big challenge for a lot of people to find capital and find equity to buy deals. And to be very honest, I am very fortunate and blessed that I'm at that platform that I've achieved that.
Got it, got it. And do you attribute some of your success to your previous positions in the institutional field, like whenever you were working like overseas and things like that?
Yeah, it's one of the factors. Ultimately, it's about it's a resume builder. People ask you what have you done before.
Track record.
Yeah, it's a track record. It's a resume. It's like finding a job. People always ask you what you did in your previous life. So it's one of the factors. But ultimately, people will invest some money and they see how you perform. And if you perform well, they will invest more. And that's simple as that. It's all about performance. You perform good, you beat the market, you do well for them. And people, are looking for great opportunities because ultimately you really have three areas where you can invest. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, and you can invest in real estate. So I think real estate is one of the safest investments because you're buying something tangible.
I
Stocks
agree.
and bonds are very volatile. You're investing in something that's out of your control. I always tell my investors that, look, I'm buying real estate. The location where it is. We can touch it. We can feel it. Uh, Worst case, we don't get the returns that we forecasted, but at least we'll own something tangible. And if you want to sell it, we'll at least recover your original investment back. So that's why I think real estate is one of the best investments somebody can do.
Oh yes, yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And real estate, I mean, it just makes too much sense, right? To the guys that are doing it, even at a smaller level, it makes a lot of sense. If you're able to do it at a small level, then you can work your way up and do it to a larger level as well. So, what would you say is your percentage between your institutional source and your private source? What would you say is your percentages?
Yeah, I think it's 70-30, 70% high net worth, 30% institution.
Got it, got it. Okay, so us talk about the markets. I know you are heavily invested in Houston, and that's kind of the one of the major markets that you look at. What is it that besides you living here, what is it that attracts you so much about Houston? And we had Hurricane Harvey, and we're having relatively low cap rates. What is the reason that you keep coming back here to Houston here locally?
Houston is, like I said, is a melting pot. So first of all, there's a huge population growth that's been happening over the last 16 years. From 2001 till now, Houston is leading in the country in terms of population growth. There's no other city in the country that has gained more population than Houston.
Even over DFW?
Yes, even over DFW. So that's number one. And then second, Houston is a very diverse economy, contrary to the popular belief that Houston is, uh, linked to all energy and oil and gas. But, we all know living in Houston that, Houston is a great place. It's the number one healthcare in the whole world. It employs over 150,000 people just in healthcare. There's port, which is the second largest port in the whole country. Then you have refineries. Then you have petrochemical industry that's completely uncorrelated with oil and gas price. So you're producing plastics that get exported to all over the world. Uh, so there's so many factors that make Houston economy so diverse and less volatile, because even when the oil was $26 2 years ago, we still had a positive net job growth. And now when the oil is back over $60, we're going to project to create over 70,000 jobs this year, which is great for an economy like Houston. If Houston was a country on its own, you'll be surprised to know that it'll be the 26th largest country in terms of GDP.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that's a great stat. That's a great stat for me who are not as bullish on Houston as Swap is. He just explained that Houston has a lot of great opportunities economic wise. It's not just focused on oil and gas as most people think it is. And no, that's great. Those are great points that you bring up. What do you think about the outlook 6 months from now, a year from now? What do you think is going to happen as far as cap rates? You see, obviously we're going to have a correction, right? It's that's a given. What do you see it? When do you see it happening, or do you have any clues on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a given that we'll have a correction. I have a different view on it, but
Okay.
because if you look around in the world and in US, there's so much liquidity, there's so much capital out there that's just looking to invest somewhere. And real estate is probably the number one place where everybody's looking to invest, because they all want to create yields on their investment. So even though interest rates, people say, are going up, it doesn't really necessarily mean cap rates are going to go up. I mean, we're seeing cap rates coming down every day. So I don't think there's going to be a correction. I think it has another 3 years at least that is going to keep going. I think we have a lot of room to grow even further. And I'm very, very bullish, not only in Houston, but in general, where there's, I'm talking about general macroeconomically. We have a lot of legs to grow, and especially real estate, because again, real estate is one of the safest investments. So I think that cap rates are going to continue to come down. People are going to continue to move here, so the rents are going to continue to increase. I mean, there's reports out there by Witten Advisors where they call Houston's rent is going to grow the most in this country this year. They're saying 9.1% rent growth in Houston this year.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. So, we're very bullish, and, hopefully we are right. But even if not, again, these factors are not in my control, cap rates and pricing, but ultimately what's in my control is the property itself. So if we can continue to improve the operations, continue to minimize the expenses, maximize the revenues, we'll continue to produce good returns for our investors. And if cap rates are low or high, we don't have to sell the properties because we're producing great returns for our investors. So we don't mind holding for long term.
So you're not concerned about the cap rates. You're not concerned about them continuing to go down. You're basically looking for the right opportunity and the right yield to be able to provide for your investors, and that's not even a big factor that you're looking at. You also mentioned that you're also thinking that it's going to continue for another 3 years or so. It's safe to say that if you provided some advice for other guys out there that are kind of on the standby, to not be on the standby and maybe to try to look into it and purchase themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, nobody can time the market 100%, me included. I mean, I can't tell you that, look, I'm going to buy at the lowest and sell at the highest. Nobody can do that. If you could do that, you're a genius. And I have never met somebody like that. So those factors are beyond my control. If you have a good business plan, if you have a good strategy, if you're truly going to be involved in the property you buy, for me, even though it's real estate, it's not an investment for me. It's an operating business, because I'm day in and day out working hard at the properties, trying to make the property better. For my investor that I invested, yes, that's an investment for them. It's a passive investment. For me, it's a real business. So think of buying and owning these assets as a real business. Don't try to do it part-time where you have a job, because then you're relying on the market. You say, okay, I'm buying something for $100. Hopefully market or cap rate is good. I'm going to sell it for 200 in 5 years. That's when you're taking a risk.
Speculating.
Yes. My business model is I'm going to buy something for $100. I'm going to generate at least $10 a year, return to the investors. sell it in 5 years, and sell it for $100. So I'm not saying I'm going to sell it for 200. I'm saying I'm going to sell it for the same price I bought it for. Even in that downside case, I still produce 50% return for investors in 5 years.
So whenever you're going into a property, let's say you're buying it at a 6 cap rate, how are you underwriting for at the end at the your reversion cap rate?
We're underwriting same cap rate. We're underwriting 6% exit cap rate.
A 6% exit cap rate. Okay, and you're also investing alongside with your investors.
Absolutely, we invest in every deal ourselves as well.
Got it. Got it. Swap, you have such a big operations here. Such a great company. How do you find the time in the day to be able to manage all these things, all these moving pieces that are going on throughout the day? How do you manage your time?
To be honest, it's not easy. Sometimes you have to step back and take some time out. But it's you have to rely on your team a little bit. You cannot do everything literally yourself. But when you're a business owner, there's not a single minute that's a downtime. I'm getting up 6 a.m. and I'm looking at my phone and checking emails and doing the work that needs to be done, and I go to sleep at 1 a.m. So really you don't get much time, but it's work that I enjoy doing. It's not where I'm forced by somebody else. It's a passion that comes with it. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, and I'm very passionate about what I do. But end of the day, it's a really, you're giving up a lot of your time, but you're creating something. You're creating a company that's worth a lot, and you're creating value for your investors. So that excites me. But then again, you need to have a team that you need to surround yourself to be able to help you and achieve your goals as well.
Got it. That's a great answer. You gotta have it's not about the team, right? To be able to get to the level like you are, it's about the team, leveraging their time, and having A players all the time with you. That's what it's about. So, Swap, what key tip or advice would you give those other investors that are also looking to grow to a level similar to yours?
I would advise them not to look too far ahead. Take it day by day. Have a vision. Have a big vision. Like I had a vision when I started my first property I bought with 37 unit complex, and I had a vision that I'm going to have 100,000 units. And people used to laugh at me. So don't be afraid to stick your neck out. And a lot of people might think you're crazy. People might laugh at you. So just take it with a smile on your face and say, look, I'm going to prove them wrong. You got to have that passion. If you have that passion, go for it. There's nothing that can go wrong. What's the worst going to happen? The business doesn't do well, then fine. At least you give it a try. You go get another job. But at least you won't look back in your life and you feel that you regret something. Go for it. If you have the passion, go for it, and give it your all. Be passionate about what you do. Don't just your goal of doing a business should not be about how much money I'm going to make. First 3 years of my life, I didn't take a single penny home. I was investing it back in the company and hiring the right people. And that's the reason for our growth. So have a long-term vision, but take a step at a time, and don't be disappointed. Don't feel that you get small setbacks. That's fine. That's part of the business. That part that comes with it. But keep going, and I'm pretty sure if you have that passion and you have the work ethic, then people will achieve their dreams.
Love that. Love that. You mentioned that you had a dream of getting to 100,000 units. Well, you're pretty much on your way. I mean, you're 12% there, right? 12% there. So, and this is a matter of 5 years only. This 5 years. So, just crazy the amount of success that you've had in such a short period of time, and that I'm pretty sure that attributes to your character and how you have that vision, and you're not letting anybody else to tell you otherwise. So I love that. And I'm going to ask you. This kind of leads to the next question. You might have already answered this, but I want to ask you anyway, is what did you have to sacrifice to get to this point?
I had to sacrifice a lot of family, personal time, and I've had to sacrifice, I wish I could spend more time with my family, with my kid. And so I had to sacrifice that. A lot of personal, hobbies that I had to sacrifice those. But end of the day, I don't consider that part as a sacrifice, because I'm impacting thousands of lives now, versus my own family. So I consider that as an opportunity, and I consider that as a blessing for me. So to answer your question, I don't think I had to sacrifice anything.
Got it. Got it. No, that's a great answer because what you're doing is you're providing you're providing a better lifestyle for a lot of families, and I think seeing it from that vision, it allows you to keep pushing further, keep pushing, and knowing you're seeing the overall picture. You're changing lives for many people. You're providing better housing, affordable housing, and so that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
What is one key tool, source, or platform that you use frequently that can also help others in their business?
To be honest, I really don't use any external, you know, platforms or advice or people. It's been me and my family, and I discuss everything with my wife, and it's about staying grounded. For me, I know where my background is, where I come from. It's about staying humble,
Humble.
looking at what God has given you is because God is using me as a medium to achieve better things and bigger things and make impact thousands and millions of lives. So one advice is, or one thing I look for is staying humble and never let the success get my head. So I would say that's one thing that I always keep in mind.
Stay humble, guys, because you never know what can happen around the corner. So that's great advice to those that are either whether you're looking to get started or you're already having success. Stay humble, like Swap. Just mentioned. Is there a book that you're currently reading?
Yes, I'm actually reading a book called The Undoing Project. It's by my favorite author named Michael Lewis. So the book is about it's I'm a big sports fan, so I watch and follow every sports. I play sports as well, and the book is about if people who follow sports, they know that you know there's teams in baseball and basketball that have recently starting to build teams using data, using analytics, Moneyball, that's another word for it. So it's about, actually it's about, you know, Houston Rockets and Daryl Morey about how they started to build this team 10 years ago and using the data. So players that might not be big on the radar for other teams, but if you put them together with other players, how you build a perfect team. So it's about maths, analytics, using data, how to achieve, taking the human error out of, whatever you're doing and building a team. So I think of it, I correlate with my team, so we have so much data, how we can improve our company, how we can maximize our rents and revenues for our assets. So very interesting book. I would highly recommend your listeners to read it.
Thank you, thank you so much for providing that book. And guys, check it out, and I will too. Because I love reading. I always try to read as much as I can, and I think it's one of those you got to keep reading to keep expanding your knowledge and learn from a lot of great ones, right? Because we're constantly learning, and so that's one great way to do it, and you do it at your own pace. Um, now you mentioned sports. I know you have next to you, well, not here physically, but next to you is George Springer. So I had to call you out on this one. So George Springer, obviously MVP of the World Series, Houston Astros. Let's talk about that a little bit. How'd you get him on your team?
Yeah, George is a great guy. He's a great human and obviously a fantastic player, especially for Houston, like what he did last year. But his background resonated with us. He overcame a lot of challenges. One being that he used to stutter, he couldn't really speak. So kind of resonated with our background. We came from very humble beginnings and how the team is built, how our culture is. So I really wanted to be aligned with him. Not for primarily because he's a World Series MVP, but because his background and where he come from. And working with him was amazing. Very humble individual, very very nice guy, and I couldn't be more proud of having George as a brand ambassador.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love his background. He struggled, like you mentioned. So as it goes to show, for all you guys out there, if you're struggling, whatever it is that you're going through, you keep pushing through it. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep pushing through it, and believe in yourself. That's really the main thing. There's not going to be a lot of people that believe in you, and that's just the nature, of humans. But you have to be able to believe in yourself. Keep pushing, and great things can happen. And so, I really believe that. And so, Swap. What are you looking to do with your company, your business? Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
I look myself as not only a real estate company in 10 years. I want to be a big platform. I want to be a conglomerate. So, having business interest in, other sectors, whether it's technology or whether it's, you know, anything in like GE, they have business in everything. So my vision is in 10 years, we are, obviously bigger than where we are, at much bigger scale, employing thousands of employees. And end of the day, my goal and vision is to help and benefit and impact millions of lives. And that's where I see myself and where I see my company, that, where I want to take it to.
Got it. That's beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. Um, at the end of your life, Swap. At the end of your life, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as an entrepreneur who not only made a lot of money for himself, for his employees, or his investors, but I want to be remembered as an entrepreneur who changed or impacted millions of lives through his, not only the jobs that we create, but directly or indirectly or through charity. I want to be able to influence over a million lives at the end of my life.
Yes, that's what it's all about. Helping others and providing value for others. The sky's the limit if you're able to do that. And so I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And where can Commit to Wealth Nation go to contact you, find out more about you, find out more about Nitya Capital and Karya Management?
Yes. There's our website, which is nityacapital.com or karyamanagement.com. My personal email is sagarwal, Agarwal, at Nitya Capital, Nitya Capital.com. And there's a, people can contact us through, any social media outlet, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. And somebody will always respond back within 24 hours, whatever concern or whatever questions that anybody might have.
Definitely, if you guys have any interest, then contact him. And well, Swap, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you sharing, your some of your business operations and Nitya Capital and Karya Management. Great companies and companies that you have been able to build from the ground up, and so that is very impressive. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you continued success moving forward.
Thank you so much, and really it's my pleasure and honor to be here, and looking forward to doing the next one. And in the meantime, if anybody wants to reach out, then please don't be afraid, and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, and commit to wealth, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.